18. I'm Chris Coraggio, NBC News Radio.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda, sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
Farron Dozier show on KCAA Radio, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also streaming from the KCAA Radio.com website and mbrradio.us. We gotta bless the show before we get started. Let's go. When I was in my mother's womb, I had a calling on my life to do something in the glory of God and marry it like a wife. Commit myself to his word and never be led astray. And when it's all over, when he comes, I'll be glad to see that day in the morning time. All right, good evening. Welcome to the Farron Dozier show on KCAA Radio 106.5 FM. All right, good evening. Welcome to the 1050 AM. Show on KCAA also streaming Radio. From the KCAA Radio.com website, the station that leaves no listener behind. I pray that you are able to hear this right now. We are streaming from StreamYard from the station, so check it out. We're at KCA Radio in the studio on 106.5 FM and 1050 AM. Plus, we're streaming from the mbrradio.us platform. So I just pray that this is broadcasting live across these platforms. I'm actually going to go and check right now, because if you want to stream us, guess what? You can go to kcaradio.com on your smartphones if you're in the IE, if you got to get out of your vehicle. But also you can go and download the apps. That's right. Both KCAA Radio and MBR Radio have apps. So you can go and download the app right now and add it to your device. And then you can definitely hear us streaming from everywhere all across the country. I'm not alone right now. I got my guy, Robert Lamar, in the building.
Whoa.
Man, how are you doing, man?
Man, I am so happy to be here, but it's been a while. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, am I acting like I don't know how to use the microphone in here? You know who it is. It's your boy, Robert Lamar, in the building. What's up, everybody? Y'all happy to see me? Y'all miss me? I missed y'all. I really missed you guys.
Did you really?
I did. It's been rough. It's been rough. It's been good, but damn, it's been crazy.
How rough is rough?
Rough is when you lacking on a few things.
Lacking?
Yeah, lacking. I could go into that, but that's a different show.
Why don't you tell me?
Oh, well, after 12 o'clock, it gets a little, like I said, that's a different show.
This is a different show.
Different show. We're not going to talk about after 12.
That's a different show.
Man, it's just been one of those things. We're just trying to balance off work and being a father and trying to advance your career in journalism, which a new career that I just started.
How is that? How is that?
It's dope. It's the most challenging thing I've done since we met at the academy. I'm getting my writing back up.
Yeah.
I'm not as fast as I used to be, but I'm getting there.
Not as fast?
Heck nah, man. I mean, because you got me behind the freaking camera to the point where I didn't have to write anymore. So I haven't written anything in like 10 years, thanks to you.
Yeah, hold on. I don't think we're being heard right now, man.
No?
So let's turn these mics off right here. Let's see.
That one hit. Did that one hit?
How about now?
I think it's hitting good now.
All right.
Oh, it's hitting hard.
It's hitting hard now. Can you hear us now?
Yeah.
So we were talking without any kind of no dead space. All right. So again, thanks for listening. This is the Farron Dozier show on KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also streaming from the MBR radio.us app and website. So make sure you check us out there. Robert Lamar is here. We got a very important show for you always here on the Farron Dozier show. As y'all could not hear, Robert was actually talking. So go ahead, Robert, pick up.
first and foremost, it is absolutely unacceptable for you not to hear Robert Lamar. Don't let that happen again. That's the WWE Attitude Era that I grew up in. Sorry about that. I can't help myself. But yeah, it's your boy Robert Lamar. Happy to be back. It's been a while, but I'm glad to be back. A lot of stuff has happened since I've been gone. Thank God for my boy WDC, Farron Dozier, for holding down the fort as usual. Your boy's a journalist now. I'm a sports journalist. Yes, like actually I can write articles that are AP certified to the point where it actually makes sense. Yeah, that's me. It's crazy, right? Everybody's like, oh, wait a minute, you're a journalist? Yes. And what do you do? Yeah, exactly. Don't try me. But it's been very challenging. It's the most challenging thing that I've done since we graduated the academy.
Yeah.
Lets me know how slow of a writer I am these days.
Yeah.
I'm getting faster, back to almost my old levels, like, pre-college levels, but I'm not where I want to be, and it's helping.
You was born for this gig, though.
I really was.
You was born for this gig. From the day we met in radio school, I seen you. I was like, right there. That's a sports dude right there.
And just like when me, you, and Coach Will were talking about, like, expanding the platform.
Yeah.
What did I tell you? I can write articles.
You said it.
I write 3 a day now.
You said it.
Yeah, but it's cool though, man. That's what it's been, man.
Well, welcome back, man. I've been missing y'all, man. I can't wait till the season starts. Shouts out to Coach Will, man. I mean, he's taking care of his child, making sure he gets his education. It happen. So
yeah,
when you don't see Coach Will here with the Heme Factor, check his social media. He is out there making sure his son is getting all the looks that he needs, because that system right now is crazy. And one of our guests is going to talk about that tonight, right?
Yeah, it's such an uphill climb, and we got our co-host, doing everything he can to make sure that his boy is going to be, okay and come out on top. And it's so vicious. It is so different than what we were used to. But at the end of the day, when you got people on top of it, you're going to make sure that everybody that we deal with is going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we miss you, Coach, man. I can't wait to get you back, man.
All right, so we're going to play this public service announcement. This is our sponsor, Comigo. Again, it's dedicated for veterans. I'm a veteran myself. There's some of us who don't want to deal with drugs and medication, and so we choose to use devices like Comigo. So if you're interested, check out the website. Well, we know that stress, anxiety is a human being function. It's a human being flaw. So if you're dealing with stress and anxiety and you are what we call civilians, you're more than welcome. This is Comigo.
Some of us still carry the burden of battle. It threatens to drown us in our everyday lives. In battle, we had our weapons and combat gear to keep us safe, to keep us confident. But when we returned home, we were not armed with weapons and gear to cope with our own minds. I was lucky to find my combat gear, my mental weapon, and it's called Comigo. Comigo is a drug-free device that allows you to achieve calm in less than 3 minutes in moments of anxiety, stress, anger, panic, or insomnia, not with medication, but rather by activating the parasympathetic nervous system through breathing regulation and multisensory stimulation. A recent study has shown that Comigo decreases PTSD and anxiety levels in veterans, helping those who are suffering and having a long-lasting effect. Visit Comigo.com to learn how you can get Comigo through the VA or with a special veterans discount code.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, did you see the game last night?
Oh, that was a good game.
But did you see the shot?
I lost money from that shot.
Oh, man, that shot was cold,
I
man.
hated it, but it was good. Damn. What's in those jeans?
You really want to know?
I do.
Exhaustion, muscle spasms, asthmatic issues, unexpected sickle cell trait crises.
Damn. Are you serious? When I was young, I found out I had sickle cell trait. My mom's told me, but I ain't have no knowledge of it. But when I got older, I had a child, and the doctor told me my daughter has sickle cell trait. You know the facts that both parents have sickle cell trait, there's a 50% chance the child may have the trait, and 25% chance the child may have the disease.
Hey, that's what's the count. Do you know that 2.5 million people in the United States have sickle cell trait, 300 million people globally? I didn't find out I had sickle cell trait until I was in the Army, 10 years. Next thing you know, I had a sickle cell trait exertion site.
Sickle cell? I thought that was a black gene or something.
Nah, man, the Latin community is number 2. 1 out of 36,000 babies are being born with sickle cell disease. You could be Caucasian, Mediterranean, European. You gotta know your bloodline, man. There is an inherited gene in our community that has been forgotten. The name is sickle cell trait. WDCONSCT, also known as What's the Count, is out to bring awareness, education, and prevention to people all over the globe. Want more information? Call us now at 323-215-5384 or visit www.wdconsct.org. Guess who's black? I mean, guess who's back? This is the Farron Dozier Show on KCA Radio, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. We got a full session for you tonight. We're going to start this off with Alan Emmanuel, who's going to talk about, it's Men's Mental Health Month, so we're going to talk about that tonight. And also, I have a military guest, Trench Talk segment here with Cindy. She's here to share some of her military experience with us before, during, and after service. And then we got an athlete towards the end of the show who's going to talk about his committing to UCLA.
Yeah, his commitment, his process, his journey.
Yeah. And he was a guest on the show prior,
a
while back. So he's going to be reunited with us tonight with his pops to go over some of that
We
conversation.
started this Carson Cox stuff. We started.
All right, so let's get Alan here, who's going to join us. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on? Can you hear me good?
Yeah,
what's going on, Alan?
I'm all right.
I told y'all the technical difficulties was going to be there in the beginning, so I appreciate y'all for the messages that they couldn't hear us. So I was able to see that. So.
You should have known we couldn't be heard because he was laughing at us the whole time.
I couldn't even tell. But thank you for those. This is what happens when you go live, right? This is real live
What
radio.
happens? This is live radio.
We working it out. We are streaming on 2 different platforms at the same time, so we're blessed at the same time. But here we are with the technical difficulties, but we figured it out. Alan, it's Men's Mental Health.
It is,
man. So introduce yourself to the listeners, man.
Of course. So I'm Alan Emmanuel, the happiness coach, also from AlanEmmanuelTherapy.com. I just want to commend you on keeping it going. It's a thing from one day to the next. You never know what's going to happen, but it's good to continue to do the work. So it's mental health awareness for men's mental health awareness. We did general mental health awareness last month. This month, we're going to focus a little bit more, I guess, on the male masculine version of human beings.
Let's get it. Get it.
That's right.
So I just, I'm excited to be here with you guys. I just think that I told you I wanted to talk a little bit about this topic that you brought up, just upgrading your emotional communication.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of times what happens is that as men, we're taught from, young not to focus in on the emotional side of how we feel, what we experience. And then what ends up happening is that we have very much these experiences around when it is necessary for you to bring your emotions up, whether it be in a relationship, with grief, with other parts of your life. And then you find out that, I don't know how to express my emotions. I don't know how to communicate with, my partner to really understand what my partner is trying to say when they're feeling emotional. Right. So it's super important to have a concept of how this plays into the way we live, right? So let's be honest. If, you look at the statistics of just like, couples who are dealing with divorce, I will tell you this. I would say at least 50% of those couples that are getting ready for divorce have communication issues. Sure. And at least 80 to 90% of the communication issues surround the issue of emotionality and a lack of emotional awareness, a lack of emotional language. You know, and for guys, a lot of times it shows up as, you know, I'm saying what I'm supposed to say, but it's not translating.
But you know, even in that conversation as human beings that we're discussing, a lot of times when you say something, how it lands for the other person also, right? So we talk about communication is harmonious, right? But if one person is not comprehending what the other person is saying, it takes a lot of courage for me to say, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I don't know what you said. Like, can you re-explain that? And by doing that, we also, if we don't, by not doing that, we don't want to look bad. I don't want to look like I'm stupid.
And that's a part of exactly what I'm saying, which is upgrading your emotional communication. Because when you say I don't want to look bad, that's one idea. But usually there is an emotion under every conversation we have with our words. Right. So I don't want to look bad. Actually, it is a conversation underneath, which is, am I good enough? Right. Mm-hmm. And where does that come from? And it usually shows up in an emotion that we don't deal with very well as men. You know, underneath that. Oh, would you say that
I'm a graduate too? I had to let him know the language is familiar.
Yeah,
because you're a graduate as well.
So you mean landmark?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what's up. Okay, so you understand. So there are conversations underneath every conversation. Yeah. And the emotions that you carry under the conversation oftentimes are not talked about. When I deal with, you know, we talk about couples, but like if I deal with couples that are trying to help each other, understand each other, I start with the emotions that they don't talk about. Because usually what we talk about as human beings are the things that we can touch, we can feel, we can kind of see with our eyes. And we're like, okay, these are the things that need to be, you know, talked about. Did you pay the light bill? Did you do this? Did you do, right?
Yeah, this survival stuff.
But underneath, there are always, under every single conversation, there's an emotional conversation that's either being ignored or that's coming to the surface and sometimes misunderstood. Yeah. So it's about actually stopping long enough, like you were talking about. Well, what do you do when you don't understand what the person's saying, right? Yeah. So underneath, you should be able to stop long enough to get out of the cycle. And to do that, you have to be emotionally aware. Because the other option is just to get triggered with your own emotions and then, oh, well, no, I don't want to, right?
No, it's control by dominance after that. I want to give it to Robert, but I want to say this before I pass it over to him is withholding communication is communication. That's what we don't understand, and that's emotional realm of conversation.
It sure is.
Withholding communication is communication still.
I didn't say nothing. I heard it today at the gym. I was at the gym and there were 3 ladies with a guy in front of him. And the guys, you know, the guy said something. I don't know what they were talking about. And the ladies were like, well, you don't want to do it. Why didn't you say you don't want to do it? And he's like, I didn't say nothing. And that was part of the problem. What you used were your words, but you're not listening to what they're saying underneath the tone of their voices. Exactly. They're trying to say something completely different. You missed the entire tone and you just heard the words.
Yeah. What you got, man?
I mean, that's straight up right there. I mean, with my experience, it was so frustrating for me to say what the heck was going on in my mind. Yeah. And it's like it went in here and it went out there. And it's like you get frustrated to the point of like, do I gotta speak this in Russian? Because if I'm speaking in English, you don't hear me. And you know that is one of the craziest things when you think about you can sleep with somebody for years and not be heard and not be understood
for years.
And there's another aspect that goes with it as well, because what if you are being heard? What if this person doesn't know how to actually respond to that though?
That's correct. That's correct.
But so they hear you but don't know how to respond.
Right.
So let me say this. When it comes anybody who comes to me, if they come to me and they say, well, I'm not being heard, but I am speaking, I put the brakes on it. And I'll tell you why. Because it doesn't matter who you think is not getting you.
Yeah.
If you actually are aware enough to stop the pattern, because it's a cycle. If you're aware enough to step outside of the cycle, with questions you can clarify, right?
Yeah.
But you got to be in tune with your own emotions. You got to actually know what pops up for me that I'm saying this and I'm being heard some other way, right?
Yeah.
Because you what happens is everybody has a kind of a cycle in their own head of, oh, I said that, but I said those words. What you mean you didn't hear? And the truth is, a part of it is we're carrying the conversation. And if you think about it, really, 70 to 80% of the actual conversation we're having are not words. It's everything else that comes with it. It's the context. It's the, it's the tonality. It's the meaning behind it for us. So it really, really requires awareness, and emotions are the first place, because emotions are actually cues, right? Emotions, they tell you exactly what is underneath. So if you understand when an emotion shows up, instead of blocking up or locking up because, oh, here we go, we're going to fight, or it's not going to be right instead of doing that, lay calm and ask for where the person needs support from you.
Yeah.
And you'll find that you break through that cycle, right? And then you're able to actually say, well, let me tell you how I feel about this, and this is what happened for me. But if you come in expecting that the other person is going to do that for you, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So next week we're gonna continue this.
Yeah.
We're gonna pick this up for part 2.
It's a whole show, man.
It's a whole show right here.
Whole show.
Getting it in, man. I appreciate you, Alan. Where can people find you again? I got your socials up here. Where can they find you?
I appreciate the question, bro.
Did you see that?
So anybody who needs, of course, they can always reach out at 678-920-8916 for Alan Emanuel Coaching. They can go to Alan Emanuel Therapy, which is ALAIN. Emanuel, EMMANUEL, and therapy.com, and they can reach out to me there. And if somebody's I really service people for therapy in the state of Georgia, but I service everywhere for the happiness coaching for couples and people looking. So I'd be happy to help anybody who needs it.
Take it easy, man. I appreciate you tonight.
All
right.
All right. Y'all have a great show.
All right. Appreciate you. Later.
Bye.
All right. This is the Farron Dozier Show on KCA Radio, NBR. Just so you understand the protection here.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
All right, so we'll be right back. This is the public service announcement. We're coming back with Cindy on the Trench Talk segment right here on the Farron Dozier Show, KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM, and NBR. Shout us out, what's the count?
Some of us still carry the burden of battle. It threatens to drown us in our everyday lives. In battle, we had our weapons and combat gear to keep us safe, to keep us confident. But when we returned home, we were not armed with weapons and gear to cope with our own minds. I was lucky to find my combat gear, my mental weapon, and it's called Calmago. Calmago is a drug-free device that allows you to achieve calm in less than 3 minutes. In moments of anxiety, stress, anger, panic, or insomnia, not with medication, but rather by activating the parasympathetic nervous system through breathing regulation and multisensory stimulation. A recent study has shown that Calmago decreases PTSD and anxiety levels in veterans, helping those who are suffering and having a long-lasting effect. Visit Calmago.com to learn how you can get Calmago through the VA or with a special veterans discount code.
And we are in the studio with no further. Let's get right into it. This is our Trench Talk segment here, and I appreciate you, Cindy. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you both for having me.
Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. You heard some of the men's mental health talk. Anything you want to say about that from a woman's perspective?
Yeah, I really enjoyed hearing the happiness coach speak. I thought he was pretty neat. But what I was wondering when he was speaking is he referring to men communicating with men or men communicating with women or both? Because I feel like there's a difference.
Actually, it really, when you look at the layer of it, is both, honestly.
Yeah.
It's the men and women relationship, but it's also male to male relationship, and even the woman to woman relationship. It's a human being conversation that one would have to tell the truth where you are in your relationship to relationships. So it digs deep.
Yeah, I feel like good therapy is going to dig deep.
That's a whole show in itself.
Oh yeah,
exactly. I was thinking, oh, are we going to have time to continue this conversation because he's going there?
Yeah, he was going there. So do me a favor, introduce yourself, and then we'll get started.
My name is Cindy Mahan, and I'm a veteran of the U.S. Coast Guard. I was in from 93 to 98. And I'm a mom of 3 amazing, fantastic daughters. And my husband is sitting right here listening.
What up?
Oh, that's what we need to ask about the male conversation. Where's he at?
Please, sir.
Exactly, sir. Let's get your opinion, sir.
He's going to be quiet during the show. Except for when I hear him giggling. I can hear him laughing at me right now. That's typical.
So we want to just let you know that Angelica says hello.
Hi, Angelica. I love you too.
Listening. So first off, Catalina Island. That's all I could say. Catalina, that's where she's at right now.
That's where we live.
Interesting.
Have you ever been there?
Yes.
I haven't.
Well, I have.
I want to go.
We're here. The island isn't going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, yeah.
So, what was going on in life leading up to joining the Coast Guard? What was life like for Cindy?
It was not pretty. It was a bit of a disaster. I joined the service. I joined the military out of desperation, and I joined the Coast Guard out of interest. You know, I saw the advertisements for, jumping out of the helicopter and saving lives. And I love the water and it just sounded fun. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to be in the military because I have to be, then that one seems pretty interesting, saving people's lives. I had just had my oldest daughter, and I was on welfare and living in, not the best apartment with my, at the time, husband, baby daddy also, who was wanting a divorce. We had just gotten married early in my pregnancy, and then he wanted a divorce towards the end of the pregnancy. So when I had my daughter, we were on that path of splitting up. Yeah. And I thought, this just can't be our life. I've got to provide something better for my daughter. If I'm going to be a single mom, how am I going to provide for her and not just be on welfare for the rest of our lives?
For sure.
I dropped out of college because I was pregnant, and I didn't see my life going anywhere positive. Yeah. And so that is where the desperation came from. Mm-hmm. But then, choosing the Coast Guard was more just about saving lives and looking really interesting. And I love the water. My dad was in the Navy, so he tried to get me to go into the Navy too. He did take me to the Navy recruiter. But I did end up joining the Coast Guard, and then I found out I'm in no shape to do all that stuff that those people that jump out of helicopters do. They're like triathletes. That's not me. Yeah. So as soon as, shortly after boot camp, I was like, well, I guess I'm going to have to do something else. And then I became a mechanic eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. How can I ask this? Prior to having your child, your daughter, and in college, what was life like in your home environment as a child growing up? What was that like for you?
We moved around a lot with, my dad was no longer in the service, but he worked for a company for General Dynamics. And so we moved around a lot. So we had a fun, worldly experience of a childhood. I mean, we learn things that you're not taught in school. Mm-hmm. And he exposed us to different countries, different cultures, immersed us into those cultures as early as like 9 years old.
Oh wow!
So that shaped a lot of my interests, I guess.
That we know that transition, even for people, transition, however you language it, is challenging.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You got your peers in one place that you grew up with and hang out, and then now you got to uproot and move somewhere else and start that process over. The new kid in town, all that. Did you manage that well, or was that something?
I did okay. It was hard. I think I definitely longed for those long-time relationships and closeness that a lot of my other friends had with each other, because they grew up together, they went to school together, and then I would be the new kid in town and just would kind of feel a little isolated, always trying to fit in. So once we did settle down, which was for me middle school, high school, I found myself always trying to fit in, be quiet, don't make too much noise, don't create any issues, and just try to fit in. And so I kind of became this little chameleon trying to fit in. And then but that meant that I was also kind of losing, my individuality, because I was always trying to fit in.
For sure. How did that play out once you joined the Coast Guard? How did that play out in that mindset shifting, right, from that?
That was such a
military. What was that like?
Because I had tried so hard at fitting in, and I was so impressionable, and so judgmental as well right before I joined. So when I joined, you strip away all of the clothing labels, you just strip everything away, because everyone's in uniform. You meet everyone, they're all in uniform, and you don't know what their style is. You don't know what their likes and preferences are. You don't know where they hang out. You don't know if that's a good area or a bad area. You don't know any of that. And I was so like jaded and judgy, and joining just being around all of these people in uniform. I got to get to know and become very close to, hi, Nicole. I got to become very close with people based on who they are at their core when you strip all of that away.
Yeah.
And so it really enlightened me to see, wow, I'm forming these connections with people I never would have connected with outside of the Coast Guard, outside of the military, really. So that was a huge change for me, is just, kind of giving me a little reality check, kick in the pants.
For sure. What do you want to say about your time in service in the Coast Guard? Any key points you want us to share?
Gosh, I feel like everyone should either join the service or go to college or something as soon as they turn 18,
right?
Because it really it gave me discipline that I needed. I was smoking, drinking, weed. This was prior to having my baby. But that's the kind of path I was on, and I was doing all the things I shouldn't be doing, and I gained so much discipline and just kind of reshaped and started over with a clean slate to develop and figure out who I was. And fortunately for me, I know that there's so many people who don't have this positive effect from the service, but for my experience in the service, I came away with, learning how to discipline myself, work ethic. I learned about a strong work ethic. I developed just quality relationships, close quality personal relationships, and just things that you just don't learn in school. Your parents want to teach you, but they can't teach you everything,
Right.
And I walked away from, I joined because of my daughter, and then I got out because of my daughter, because I was watching her grow up in pictures. And, I'd be out to sea watching her grow up in pictures. I mean, she was 3 months old when I joined. And for a new mom, just, that was tough. But I decided, okay, I did this for her, and I need to get out for her.
Yeah.
And so that's That's what he did.
That transition out of the service, what was that like for you? You come in, with this mentality, your mind shifts over to this Coast Guard soldier, and then now you're going back into this civilian world. How was that transition for you?
Well, that's why I don't drink tequila anymore. I think the first thing that hit me was, we'd pull into ports, drink, shots. We're patrolling the Caribbean, pulling into ports, drinking with your buddies, this and that. I get home, drinking, doing this and that. It's just not the same. I don't know what happens in the U.S., but when I'm outside of the U.S., that was a way of life. But transitioning, it was a little bit of a mild reality check, that on a superficial level is, whoa, I'm back home now. Yeah. I need to reframe. I'm not in the service anymore. I'm not doing that. I need to reframe, not reframe, but I need to get my life on track in the civilian world. And the Coast Guard was, at the time, the Coast Guard was really helpful with that transition, but they didn't address really, or maybe I didn't get the help for it, any of the emotional part about it. Sure, just some of the things, like, it's hard to describe. Not that I wasn't emotionally hurt by what happened. It was just more the transition going military to civilian.
They don't teach us how to turn that off. We turn it on, but we don't know. They don't teach us how to turn that emotional, and for me, I'll say my identity was still in my uniform. In my when I medically retired, my identity was still in that camouflage, and outside of that, I didn't know who Farron was. So now it's like starting all over again. And depending on what you make it mean in your transition, I heard you say you got out because of your daughter, right? And sometimes we make those decisions for those reasons, and then we realize that maybe that wasn't even a good reason. So now you're still kind of in the midst of, is this a good idea to get out? Should I stay and all this? So I can imagine only what that kind of felt like for you, coming out of that service. So
yeah, it was one of the reasons why I knew I had to get out for her is because on one of the trips, because I would go out to sea for 2 or 3 months and come back, on one of the trips, she was just a little like
who are you?
Yeah. And I'm like,
oh, yeah.
Come here. And she was just so apprehensive of me. And I'm like, oh, no. But coming back, coming back was hard too, because I told you that her dad and I were splitting up while I was pregnant. Well, he ended up staying with me the duration of my service time. And then when I got out, we split up.
Oh, yeah.
So we split up. So I told you I learned about myself, right? Well, when I got out of the service and came back home, he really wasn't on board with who I had become.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my personality had been shaped by him because we were together from like freshman year through high school. So I was always around him and his friends. And so when I got out on my own and went into the service, and then, I figured out who I was, he was not down with that. And we ended up splitting up.
So lastly, before I let you go, what's life like today?
Whew. Today, so much has happened, but today my husband and I are living on Catalina Island. Our 3 daughters are grown, and I couldn't be more proud of them. One of them just moved to Hawaii with her new husband last week. I'm a grandma. I'm a grandma, and also a grandma of foster kids too. Each one of our daughters, I know, I feel like, I always wonder, did I do a good job as a mom?
Yeah.
And every decision that I've made, like, joining the service, did it for my daughter, got out for my daughter. All the decisions that I made were, I always put my kids at the top of, is this going to be a good life for them? Is this going to be good for them? And so I think so far, most of it was good because they're all 3 just killing it. And my husband and I are here in Catalina, and we're just trying to get back to a life that's ours. We've kind of given it all to our kids, given it to my sister. My sister's been recovering from a stroke for about 7 or 8 years, and we're just getting back to us now.
Yeah. Thank you for hanging out. I'm gonna have to invite you back in another segment so we can get some more in that military career. But thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight.
Thank you guys for having me. This is really cool. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. All right, this is the Farron Dozier Show. We got Robert Lamar in the building. We about to get into some sports. Don't go anywhere. The public service announcement, and we're coming right back with Carson Cox. Shout us out, what's count.
Some of us still carry the burden of battle. It threatens to drown us in our everyday lives. In battle, we had our weapons and combat gear to keep us safe, to keep us confident. But when we returned home, we were not armed with weapons and gear to cope with our own minds. I was lucky to find my combat gear, my mental weapon, and it's called Calmago. Calmago is a drug-free device that allows you to achieve calm in less than 3 minutes in moments of anxiety, stress, anger, panic, or insomnia, not with medication, but rather by activating the parasympathetic nervous system through breathing regulation and multisensory stimulation. A recent study has shown that Calmago decreases PTSD and anxiety levels in veterans, helping those who are suffering and having a long-lasting effect. Visit Calmago.com to learn how you can get Calmago through the VA or with a special veterans discount code.
All right, welcome back to the Farron Dozier Show on KCAA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also streaming from the KCAA Radio.com website, the station that leaves no listener behind, plus nbrradio.us to check us out over there as well. We thank you, Cindy, for hanging out with us and sharing your story. Really appreciate you. Shouts out to Angelica for the introduction. Shouts out to the Coast Guard. But right now, we just going to get right into this last part of the segment. Carson, man, what's happening?
What's up?
What's happening?
Nothing much, just with my parents right now. Excited to be here.
Cool. I'm going to turn the microphone over to Robert Lamar in the zone, man.
What's happening, Carson?
So, Robert?
Look, I'm not even going to be humble about this. I started this Carson Cox moment, and damn it, this is my time. I've been saying that Carson Cox was the dude. Nobody wanted to hear it. And then only thing you did was just bust through the scene last year, forced everybody to hear it. Now you that guy. Carson, you got to tell us about this journey because it wasn't always, rainbows and all that good stuff. You really worked hard to get here. Life is a lot different than when you were here last time. Talk about your journey for your recruitment. Like, how was that for you?
So my journey for recruitment, coming out the high desert, not many get recruited out here to Division I colleges. Well, especially as many as I did. I have like over 30 scholarships to play Division I football. But, like I said, just coming from the high desert is just a major thing, just trying to get out and produce for the area. So, yeah, when I was on the show the first time, I don't think I had no offers. If I did, I might have had UNLV. But that was and then eventually, after the whole interview, then my recruitment just started blowing up. More schools started coming in, and then, I've reached over 18. Got over 18, and after my sophomore year, towards the end, and then junior year, after the season and everything, it just blew up even more.
You know what? It's wild because I used to see your mother multiple times a day. And I used to, what's up, Tanisha? And I used to tease your mom. And your father told me don't do it. But I used to say, he's going to go to Utah. He's going to leave. Your baby's going to be gone. It's going to happen. And that didn't happen, But I used to let her know, look, his recruitment is about to blow up. Yeah. So what you're worried about right now, that does not mean anything. You're going to be straight. Trust me with him. And if she don't believe me, if you don't believe me, you can ask her right there. But going from a time where you had no offers into the schools really starting to recruit you hard, what did you have to figure out in regards to schools being genuine about you, actually wanting you, or just kind of like just trying to fill you out? What did you learn in that initial part of the process?
So during the process, I kind of learned to talk to players on the team, see what players are like the transfer portal now. So a lot of players are transferring out, transferring in. So all is to go after the dudes who transfer out and try to see the reason why they would transfer out.
Yeah.
A ton of players transfer out, and some schools have a lot of players transfer in. So it's just always about the connections, the relationship with coaches, see how they really treat you. That was just a major thing going into it.
You've had to pivot in your recruitment a couple times.
Yeah, I did.
And tell me what was like the toughest part about you having to do a pivot and kind of like regroup and try to figure out where you were at for your next steps moving forward.
So I was just pretty much based off relationship, how much they'll talk to me. How much was on their mind, pretty much checking in. They'll send me clips and say thinking about you, just pretty much mail as well. Handwritten letters, that's a major thing into the recruitment. So, and as well as the head coaches contacting, that's the most important piece. The head coach is what is like the root to it all. So that was just a major thing into it.
I love you because you listen. I can't stress that enough. You remember what I told you here. I said, if you get faster, you're going to be like the best back out here, period. What did you do? You got faster. And you became that guy. And the beautiful part about that was your first game, just going into your junior year, that stiff arm set the tone for the rest of your life. You've been through a lot of ups and downs to the point where you were on the OG Ducks and they told you to go find another home. So you've been proving people wrong this whole time. How does it feel knowing that you were given up on, but you were able to rise above that and became one of the most requested players in the country?
It just really feels great, proving that all the doubters wrong, that I'm better than what you thought I was. So making them have that stank look in their face,
So here it is. It's like you got your flowers. Yeah. People go back and forth to saying that you're the best back in the state. And I believe you are because you don't play with a line that's recruited. You play against local dogs. That's what you play with. And that's a lot tough. It's a lot tougher to run through a hole that you're not running behind a college line. So moving forward, UCLA, I like the other school, USC, more, but it's okay. I'm about to invest in my Carson Cox memorabilia. So it's going down. How did we get here? UCLA.
So pretty much just going through the recruitment process, just valuing it down to what's really going to benefit me in the future. So I was looking at connections, NIL is a thing now, so I want long-term longevity, and then just the trueness of coaching staff and see who's really going to be there and really support me and who has a better chance for me to play early.
Your head coach is a former running back. Your offensive coordinator is a former running back. And I believe your strength and conditioning coach is a former running back.
Yes, sir.
So that's they all know what you need to do to go to the next level. How could you have possibly got this lucky?
Very lucky. Yeah, so the running back coach, the head coach, offensive coordinator, 2 strength and conditioning coaches played around. Yeah, it's 5 on staff just like that. Just, all around football that know just about the running back position. So I'm able to train like a running back, be like a running back, eat like a running back. Everything I do, running back. So,
is Pops available to talk?
Is Kenny?
Pops,
I'm here.
What's happening?
What's up?
How does it feel, man, to be in this space right now from coming here?
Well, it felt pretty good. Like you said, it was a long journey. He's been playing since he was 6, and it was a bunch of guys that they probably knew what he can do, but it was more like, they're gonna play their homeboy kids first. Guys know.
So that's the beauty of it. You don't got to deal with these politics anymore. You don't have to worry about waking up, driving to here, driving to there, preparing for this, preparing for that. How glad are you that this is over?
Yeah, the worst was the COVID year when nobody was really playing football.
Yeah.
And then after, we had to go down and see them ugly duglies down there. That's play football, and it's trying to, they probably was trying to get at me and threw some salt in this game by cutting them. And luckily, AJ at the Pilots, they called me and told me, hey, Carson want to play? I said, yes, he want to play. And we went down there and played with the Pilots. So, we knew that wasn't, his squad, but, he can help that squad out. And, we wasn't expecting him to, start much. They had their players, but, he just went down there and did what he can do.
Shout out to AJ, by the way, LA City section legend. But you're a father, kid, and we all want what's best for our kids. Education is a very important part when it comes to your household. You have done the college thing multiple times in your house, so this isn't something brand new.
No.
But this is your son we're talking about. I'm a father of girls, and I got one boy, and it's different when it comes to your son. I don't care what the mama say. They can hit me in the head with that. That's fine. But you're a baby boy. You're a baby boy who was bigger than you when he was a baby. I've seen the baby pictures. That was a big baby. But how proud are you knowing that your son has done everything right, has put himself in a position to win, and it's happening?
I'm very proud of him. My family's proud of him. My older brother by 1 year, he's a fire chief at LA County. And he's go down there and brag about him all the time. And, it's just, I'm proud of the kid. He, like you said, he listens to everything I asked him to do. And, head straight, education first. And he's doing it. So, what can I say?
Where's Moms? Does Moms got something to say? Does she want to chime in real quick?
Say, but we're not gonna let her talk right now.
All right, and look, and the funny part is she the one who all the coaches like, because every time I see a picture of a recruiting trip, it's Tanisha in the pictures, in the video,
all in the video.
That's her. So obviously they like her way more than they like you. Yeah, and I know why, because it's like, you're a little crazy, kid.
No, that was it. Get to his little sister. Get to the brother.
We got 1 minute, ma'am. What would you like to say about your son today?
He's fantastic. He's amazing. To watch all the stuff that he's done since he's been so young, and to keep his butt out of trouble. It has been key for him, as well as for myself, which is also what went to the schools. He needed to go to school that was going to do something for him. They're going to use him. You're going to get education out of it as well. Yeah. I'm so proud of this. Proud. This is my baby boy. I love him. Look, Lamar, you seen me crying when this is like just when I knew this was going to happen. But what I feel for him, I can't put in words. He's just an amazing kid doing amazing things, and I just know amazing things are still yet to come for him.
Yeah. I told you this was going to happen. When you didn't know that I interviewed your son, I was telling you how your son was going to be perfectly fine when you thought that things could be a little rough.
That's true.
Here we are.
That's true. Just saying. Just checking.
He just. Anyway.
I appreciate. Look, Tanisha, you bust your butt every day. You were the hardest hustler in that high desert, and it was a pleasure seeing you every day. I knew it was always a good day when I saw you. But man, congratulations, man. Your son is dope, and he's a baller, and everything that he has, he deserves.
Yeah, for sure. All right. We appreciate everybody for tuning and listening in. Carson, anything you want to say, man, before we go? Where can find you on your social media?
So you can follow me on social media. My Instagram is Carson33K, KARSON 33K. And that's where you can contact me. I'm always active on there, so I would normally check every message.
All right, cool. And let me bring my guest up, Cindy. Thank you for hanging out with us today. We appreciate you for chilling and sharing your on the Trench Talk segment. We got to get out of here. I got to play this PSA one more time. This is the Farron Dozier Show on KCA Radio, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Robert Lamar. Shouts out to Coach Will. Next Sunday, we'll be back right here. Shout us out with Scout.
Some of us still carry the burden of battle. It threatens to drown us in our everyday lives. In battle, we had our weapons and combat gear to keep us safe, to keep us confident. But when we returned home, we were not armed with weapons and gear to cope with our own minds. I was lucky to find my combat gear, my mental weapon, and it's called Calmago. Calmago is a drug-free device that allows you to achieve calm in less than 3 minutes in moments of anxiety, stress, anger, panic, or insomnia, not with medication, but rather by activating the parasympathetic nervous system through breathing regulation and multisensory stimulation. A recent study has shown that Calmago decreases PTSD and anxiety levels in veterans, helping those who are suffering and having a long-lasting effect. Visit Calmago.com to learn how you can get Calmago through the VA or with a special veterans discount code.
KC